Hey, welcome back. And this morning, let's draw Chris Pratt from the new show Terminal List. And it's something that I kind of just started watching because I'm just waiting for other shows to show up. And I'm on episode 3. I think it's okay. I mean, it's not great, but it's a watchable show. So let's draw this character because there's some cool lighting on him. I mean, his face is half of it's in the shadow, which will be a little bit darker. So let's just give it a shot. I'm using a 2B. So let's draw. So in this case, he's got his hat. So that might actually be a good starting point. I'm just going to draw in, let's say, the width of the hat, the visor area. There's a little bit of slant, so it should go up slightly. So I'm going to go from here, here, and let's go from there. Okay, so that's the visor. Okay, let's just go with that. Might be a little bit off, but it doesn't matter. It's just a starting point. Sometimes these large shapes is helpful. So here's his brow. Just going across. I'm just gonna mark in his eyes first. Since I've drawn this line, it's useful to come in and sketch both eyes. Because if I just start shading on one eye, this might be too big, and then now I can't change anything, or I have to change this. So in this case, because I have this huge reference point, let's go ahead and just sketch in his eye. Okay, and then one eye looks a little bit further apart, or maybe I've drawn it too small. Yeah. His nose, very deep shadows right there. How's that? Looks like. Okay, maybe something like that. All right, let's just go from there because I don't want to spend too much time trying to get it accurate. So let's just start shading. Brow is pretty dark right here. Gonna draw and shade at the same time. So very top of the eyelid is usually darker, although in this case it looks like there's a little bit of a bounce lighting from the bottom. And you can tell just by looking at the eyeball, you can see all the reflections, all the highlights, how the lights are placed. So right here, there's one bounce light from the bottom, or one fill light from the bottom, and then there's another one over here, kind of like on the side. The pupil, just gonna shade around it. Okay, so I'm trying to keep those two highlights, or else the eyes becomes a little dead. Okay, I'm gonna try to keep this white for the bounce light. For the fill light from the bottom underneath. So right here, this is darker. This comes around here. And this is darker. Just gonna give this one little shade first. This part's a little bit tricky. I'm not used to drawing. That's why you kind of have to draw what you see and not what you think you see, because we're getting light from the bottom, which is not something you were used to seeing. Because we're always used to see lights from above, because obviously every time we go outside, right, we see the sun from the top. So the default natural lighting is always from the top, and when it isn't, it kind of throws you off. All right, let's sketch in the other eye before I draw in this other area on the nose right here, because there's a lot of those shadows going on. It's got a little bit of a intensity in the eye, Hopefully I can capture that. I don't know if you guys watch this show, but I don't know, it's just like so typical of all the other storylines that you've seen like maybe probably like 1,000 times. Navy SEAL guys, Special Forces goes out on this mission, then all his team members, most of his team members gets killed, and him and his other team members are being hunted afterwards. Now he's trying to find out why. So really nothing special in terms of storyline, right? Okay. All right. Kind of got lost here a little bit. Okay, let's fill in some of this eye area. So the highlights right here, it's not necessarily a highlight, but this part's whiter. So give this one shade, and then it's gonna be a little bit darker on this side. So I'll give this another shade. So just 2 little patches. And then it's gonna come down here. And then this comes around here. This is slightly darker. There's a cheekbone on the bottom. So same thing here. I kind of messed it up here. A little bit too low. So this comes around. This is the eye socket right here. So this part's gonna be slightly darker. Okay, let's come down and draw the nose, because this, yeah, the nose is very what do you call it? Very pronounced here, because so there's a lot of shading. So I'm looking at the wings of the nose. Let's see if it comes straight down from the eyes, right around here. Okay. Normally that's the width of the nose for most people, I think. So I'm gonna come down from the corner of the eye. I'm gonna try to look at the slant here from the reference. I'm trying to judge the angle. So probably like somewhere around here. Okay, so now same thing. I'm being a little bit more careful than usual here, because I do kind of want to make it look like him. Okay, so highlight here. This is dark. This is the darkest part right here, very deep. So in terms of shading direction, it's really whatever. Since I'm going up, I'm just going up this way. I can even things out later. This part slightly lighter, and then it gets dark again. Yeah, very tricky lighting. Okay, so if you look at here, these are just some of the observations. So this is dark, and then it lines up, and it gets slightly darker again, right? Because this is one flat area, and it's getting some light here. And then right here is a little bit flatter, so it gets a little bit darker. So that's kind of observations you want to do. Just see what's right next to it and look at the values and try to get that. And again, it's pretty hard stuff. It's not an easy thing to do. I struggle with it all the time. But you just kind of have to go for it and then shade it, see how that looks. And you know, the first step is always to be able to, you know, recognize the mistakes. And once you're able to recognize the mistakes, then you know what needs to be done. And for a lot of beginners, you know, you sometimes you can't even see that. You're like, you're sketching, and how come things don't look right? And it's because, you know, you're not seeing the difference in values. And again, it's not an easy thing to do, but it does work. You know, it just takes time. Okay, so like here, the top of the nose right here on the wings is darker. This is darker. So I know the strokes are messy, but again, I'm just trying to get the right value in. And again, I can always clean it up later. Okay, so right here, again, this the wings of the nose right here. Very light right here. And then around it gets darker. And we just kind of shade around it, and this shape will develop on its own. So this is dark, and then let's come down here. Yeah, the nose is actually very cool. You know, these male noses his nose is very pronounced, so it's very interesting to draw. Okay, so coming down here. Okay, highlight here. Not highlight, but lighter. And then the mustache. Of course, it's going to be very dark. But before we draw in that, let's come in and actually draw in the lip first. So let's see, there's right here. Right on top of the lip is always white. This little line here, I'll try to keep that. Okay, so then his lip. If I look down, it's right around here. So I know if I come down, probably somewhere around here, I think. No, it's actually lower, probably somewhere here. And then on here, on the eyeball. Yeah. It's got a little bit of expression. So, okay, so I know that the corner of the lip's gonna be right around here. So let's just draw that in. Corner. And here's the other corner. I think this one looks off, but looks like it needs to go out more. But okay, let's see if I'm right. So once you have this, you draw this, and then now you can draw in the middle right here. This part always sinks in. And then now we can draw this. So the lower lip, just look at the distance. His lower lip is usually wider than the top. Okay, so if you double this distance and you come down slightly, that's gonna be where the lower lip's gonna be. So always try to measure with things around it. All right, so let's just go with that. All right, so now I'm gonna come back here and let's sketch in the really cool mustache right here, nice and dark. This object comes around like this. This should have a little bit of shading in here. And then the lip is dark here. It's dark here, it lines up, and then it gets darker here. Because this is a little bump here that kind of comes out, so that's why there's always a shadow right there. The top right here, very dark. Come around, and it's gonna get slightly darker because as it tucks in. And then now the lower lip. Just give this one shade first. So again, right here is darker. This bumps out. So like two little bumps here. So the middle right here gets a little bit more shadow. And then underneath the lip. It's a little confusing because it does have mustache, so you gotta see what is what. Okay, so now I'm gonna make this a little bit darker. So let's draw some of this. It's darker in here, right on the corner. So here's the mustache. Okay, so this part is more fully rendered than this. Let's sketch in here so I can fill in some of this space because it's looking kind of strange right now. So I'm just gonna look at the shadow area here. It's got a very wide cheekbone. Come down, let's see. So I'm judging the distance from here to here. It's about the width of his eye. So if I double this, that should be right around here. This will be the side of his face. And then his ear starts here, goes all the way up here. And then come back down. Where does it go to? Right around here. If we take a horizontal line. So it's gonna be right here. Somewhere around here. And then the ear angle, there's a little slant here, so just try to keep that in mind. So okay, so that's his ear. Let's see. Okay, so the cheekbone right here, this part's cool. Let's just continue here. So I'm gonna come down. Here's the mustache. It's gonna come down the jawline all the way down here. This is where it starts to turn. And then it comes all the way down. Kind of judging the distance from here to here. In this case, he's got a really big chin, so this distance. With males, if you're gonna err on the side, just err on the bigger chin. Actually, you know, the last thing you want to do is to give him a smaller chin, because you need to give him that powerful jaw for the manly look. And so the opposite is true, you know, for the female. If you make their chin a little bit smaller, it tends to be a little bit more attractive in your drawing. Okay, so this part here, this is darkest right here. It's from the rim lighting. So this part's cool. Hopefully I can sketch this well to really bring out the light. Dark, let's see. This comes around here. I guess this shouldn't be white. This comes around here, and then the highlight for his cheek or lighter area is right around here. Okay, so I'm just gonna go around it. Yeah, so it comes down slightly darker here. And there's another bump right here. So we're gonna keep this lighter. And then also in here, there's another. Yeah, very tricky. Okay, so the beard. The beard we have to make it darker, or else it kind of blends in with his face, and you don't know what is what. Looks like I got the line wrong here. This should go a little bit higher. Okay, let's keep going. Beard. So again, short strokes. That way I can be a little bit more accurate, I guess, so I don't go too far. And the shading so becomes like a connection of these short little blocks. Trying to be a little bit more sure with my strokes. Hopefully it'll look a little bit more professional. Darker here. So underneath. Now I'm seeing the smaller details. So this part, I'm still off right here. I'm still missing the shape. So this needs to be darker to get the whole eye socket area. So once I make this darker, this needs to be darker. So and then let's see, cheekbones here. The highlight's right around here. Okay, so how's that? Right, so that's okay, I think. I'm sure the features are off. Okay, let's just sketch in his ear real quick. So his ear, I'll just give it one shade because I know everything's in the shadow or in the shade. And then let's see the line here. one bump. So this is darker. Oops, almost slipped my pencil here. And then this goes around. Deeper here. Okay, and so that's it. I don't just try to get the basic shapes for the ear. Just keep it simple. That way, we'll keep the focus into the face here. Because if you have too much detail here, what's going to happen when people see it? We tend to look at things that are very sharp and nicely detailed. It's going to pull your eye away from this. So you always want to give the eye more detail so that, you know, that will be your main focal point. So this part, let's see, this needs to be darker. Well, my pencil is getting really blunt here. So we've kind of almost completed half of his face. So here, dark. So rim lighting here. So again, with this kind of stuff, because there's so many lights, it does get more complicated. Okay, so let's see how far out. It's got, again, really wide. And if I look at the distance from here to here, it's about the width of his eye. So it's pretty wide here. Okay, so my hat's off, but that's okay. So it's gonna curve in right around to his nose right here. This is his beard. Come down again, the jawline. It's right around here. It's gonna start turning. This distance here, probably from here to here. So I'm just roughly judging it. Okay, so we're gonna come down here. And the beard is gonna hide a lot of those lines, so it can be a little bit messy. Underneath here needs to be darker. Right here, this one's a little bit darker here. It's lighter here. Very deep line here, so we can actually hit that harder. And then we can come in and fade it out. Okay, so let's shade in this part. And this part, it's just kind of, you know, boring. There's not a little bit lighter. There is a hard rim lighting right here, so I'm just gonna sketch that and now shade around it. Darker here, this comes all the way here. This needs to be a lot darker, I guess, on this side. Okay, so let's even this out. So this comes all the way down. Let's see. A little bit brighter here. This part's darker. Brighter here. So a lot of more subtle shading, you know. But again, it's the same thing. We're just trying to identify the changes in the shading. Very sharp here. I gotta bring that back. This is important. comes up. Darker here. Darker here. Okay, because the rim lighting, the bounce light. So this part's actually lighter. Again, throws you off when the lighting is from the bottom. Okay, so let's draw in his ear. So that doesn't look so strange with one ear. Here and the ear. This line here. This one shade. And then in here. I think this is actually, this is part of hair, but okay, whatever. Okay, how's that? Oh my god. Alright, so it doesn't look like him. I think this eye is like way slanted. Kind of looks like his eyes a little bit too close apart. I guess his eye should have been bigger. Maybe I can adjust that later off camera. But overall, you know, just the shading. Well, actually, the shading part of the hat. Yeah, just a little bit. So I'm just connecting these. Very loosely. Yeah, so the hat part is pretty dark. Just a little bit of detail. I won't go too far into the hat. I can do that later. Okay, so yeah, that's about it for this. I mean, I'll put my head over it with the camera off, and I'll try to fix some of the features. You know, maybe make the eyes a little bit wider. Try to make it more like him, and then fill in some of these little gaps here just to clean things up. Okay, so hopefully I'll have a much better drawing after this. If not, then it just won't look like him and it'll just be somebody else. Alright, so this is the final drawing, and I'm gonna give up on this because it doesn't really look like him, and it's starting to look really weird. Something about the eyes is almost like this is kind of like a dude in drag or something. Alright, so for this one, I'm just gonna leave it like this. Yeah, I might come back to it from tomorrow or something, you know, with a fresh eye and see how it is. But I think overall, it was kind of fun sketching, but yeah, too bad I missed on the likeness. So hopefully, you know, there's still some good tips in here and there. All right, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.